is Temitope from Lagos, Nigeria. Temitope says, how do I get a job as the head of communications in a multinational company? How do you get a job as the head of communications in a multinational company? Well, I want to assume that you are at a certain level where head of communications is probably within your reach of a multinational company. So you're not like a guy just looking for a job. So let's assume that and answer the question based on that. To get a job as the head of communications of a multinational company, it will also depend sometimes on referrals, the strength of your application, and your brand. You see, the world today, we've seen the rise of the personal brand, the individual brand. Everybody has the opportunity to leverage social media like LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook to build an individual brand. So before we ever meet you, we can use all these platforms to learn more about you and what you are passionate about. Okay, so you can always show expertise leveraging these platforms. So it's also part of positioning, all right, because you want to show yourself as an expert in this area of communications. You also a way you could do it is just to find out what are the most recent happenings in communications at the multinational level, and just be a sounding board for it. And then people look up to you because they can see a level of, because if you have this knowledge, it means you have some level of expertise. All right, and of course it doesn't always interpret, but you have a responsibility of self-marketing, right, to brand yourself in a way that people think this guy's an expert. You got to look like an expert to be seen to be an expert. So that's important, your personal brand. And I talked about the strength of your application. Every time there is an opening, because they do advertise openings, every time there's the strength of your application, the quality of the language, and your use of words in a way that shows high level professionalism and depth. Okay, the way somebody who's trying to be head of communications is writing is very different from the way somebody else who wants to be a communications assistant will write. So the strength of your application is very important to research as much as possible on how that communication goes. And there's a lot of information on the internet for you to do if you have an opportunity now to apply. A third way, which is not a third way in that it is either or, it's like all this work together, is referral. All right, referral. So as many people who you know who work in multinational companies or are affiliated to multinational companies or are contractors to multinational, you could always voice it. Like, I'm looking for this opportunity. I would love XYZ opportunity in a multinational company. If you hear anything, please tell me. All right, you just voice it, because if you don't voice it, nobody's going to know. All right, so you voice it. So I'm looking for this in the multinational, and that's simple. That's a simple networking. It's not complex. It's not something you go out of your way to do, because if you are trying to be the head of communications, you probably work somewhere already and you're busy with that. So you may not go out of your way to make it so obvious that you want to get this, but you're mentioning it to who you think can help you with a referral. And then, of course, another way, which is also in line with the last one I just talked about, is you can ask questions to people in the multinational companies or head of companies in the multinational. How did you get the job in the first place? A friend called me. Somebody sent me a message on LinkedIn. I just applied. It's just one of those three, really. It's either somebody refers you, or somebody sees your brand and calls you because of your brand, or you just apply and then on the strength of your application, you get it. So if you pay attention to these three things, you might get it. And when you get it, I wish you all the best in your new role. Okay, so with that, we come to the end of today's edition of Ask Brian, and I hope we were able to answer your questions as much as we did. But most importantly is the fact that it gives you a certain perspective on what you're thinking, and a second opinion sometimes could be very, very invaluable. Like you can quantify the value of a second opinion, and that's what we bring to you with Ask Brian. For more, you can follow, go to our website, just visit our website www.inversionafrica.com, and it has all other things that we do, corporate trainings. We also have an online store there that has several materials that you can pick and use it to improve your capacity while you look at increasing your productivity and effectiveness in the workplace, in your business, or wherever you are. Okay, till next time, keep winning.